Well, good morning. It's been a long time since I streamed. How's it going out there? In what I'm streaming, I always stream multi-platform, so I guess it'd be YouTube, Twitch. I think that's all I'm streaming right now. YouTube and Twitch. Um, I quit streaming a couple of others, but I might add. I probably will end up adding TikTok live to the trios and make it a trio, but we'll see. What's been up in my life lately? Well, like you're really interested, but hey, you might be. Who knows? I could be using this mic, but I'm not. I'm using this little fee fine right here. Oh, I don't even know if it's. Yeah, I think it is. Let me see what's happening here. I didn't even look and see if the broadcast software was working properly. Yeah, it is. From what I can see. Okay. So I'm still working on the face-to-face media forensics program. I had a couple hiccups, uh, and so we'll check that out in a little bit. So it's not out for sale yet, but it's getting very close to having the alpha version out. And so it's going to probably be, I don't know, I'm going to have a really good deal for the first 1,000 people or so, or maybe 500 people or so, and then go from there. Most of these programs like this are selling for thousands, right? And it's the way I wrote it is it's forensic space, so it can be used for law enforcement and stuff as well. So, uh, but my goal wasn't to make a bunch of money off of it, although I need to make money off of it. My goal is to have a program that the average person can use, to find out if the video that they're watching or the pictures that they're looking at was made by AI. Right, that's its main purpose. And then it has some other things that it does, quite a few other things that it does. For instance, it has a gunshot forensics DSP that we wrote that you can record a gunshot, and as long as it's a decent quality recording, you can place it in there in the forensics, and it should be able to ID the type of gun and the probable caliber, and as long as it's if it's a supersonic weapon, then pretty close to the distance that the mic is from the shot that you're recording. So that'll be because they can use crack and bang. For subsonic, there's no crack and bang. For subsonic, it's a little bit more difficult to come up with a distance, but since it looks at a database, it'll still be pretty accurate if the database has shots that are similar, right? If those databases, and there's a little program in there to build the database, so that's pretty cool too. Anyway, we'll look at that in a bit. And then other than that, the class that I'm writing, so it's running sound in a church, or actually for any live setting, running sound. Just all the basic knowledge that you will ever need, right? Of course, it's not going to cover a bunch of advanced stuff, but it's going to show you and teach you everything that you need to know, right? Which is I've been in the ministry a long time, right? So I have found in most small churches, the biggest need really in the small church is a knowledgeful person that can run audio video, right? So mix the sound, know what they're talking about, know how to do sound reinforcement and fix the reverberation in the room, and then there's a video, and set it all up and be able to diagnose it, all that stuff, right? So that's what we did. We wrote a program that taught how that works, and a lot of that information will cross over to recording, So a lot of that information is really important for people that want to record. And so it's very extensive. It's 22 modules. Some of the modules have 20 lessons or plus, and they all have most of them have besides all the graphics and everything, have like um uh papers that you can download, that checklists and templates and all that kind of stuff. And then there's also the video part of it that I haven't created. That's where I'm at with that one almost. Well, not almost. I'm still putting all the graphics in. But so that one will probably be out, I would guess. mm, I would guess probably sometime in 6 to 10 months. It's going to be uh because there's just there's 220 videos that have to go with it, and I haven't even started the video part of it yet. So that's a very big class. It's going to sell for, I don't know what, probably, I don't know what price actually right now. I would like to make all my money in the forensics thing, in the media forensics and program, because that's a general public thing. And then if that's the case, if I make enough money with that, then I will bring down the price drastically on the class. Because I want to support the gospel as much as possible. But I have if you don't know it, I have right now I'm the president of Faith Abides. If you look at faithabides.com, you'll see what that is. But but we are looking at I don't know, several $100,000 remodel that we have to do. And I could probably dump $1 million into that ministry really easily. And the problem is right now I have no money to speak of to do that. I mean, I'm scratching by myself, so I don't have the money right now. But the ministry needs to go on, and Faith Abides. We got the property. We have the 501c3 in place. We have buildings that we've been working on, right? So we got one totally remodeled, two of them totally remodeled. We're working on the actually place I'm living in right now. And then we have the church building itself. There's a building that started to be remodeled years ago, but has a very long way to go. It doesn't have any of the plumbing in it yet. It doesn't have any of the electrical. Well, it has some of the electrical, but it doesn't have a lot of the stuff it needs. No bathrooms. The sound system and all that stuff has to go in. So that is going to be a church building, but it's also going to be a recording studio in there. Because if you don't, most people know that I also have a label, By Every Word Productions, that I put out. For instance, the program that I'm putting out is underneath that production company, the forensic program. Now, and I have several books out and underneath that, and I have tons of music out and all that stuff. But that is we're gonna build a studio in there so that we can do like what you see if you go and watch like Upper Room, worship videos, right, for a church, right, so that they can create music and worship for a church, and try to move away from what happened in that genre of music. And while the genre of music is good that it got updated, the wave of worship, it got updated, but we have too many artists and too many companies uh, uh, worrying about monetizing and copyright and all that stuff, right? And that is not what I feel should be the focus of something like that. So we're going to try to establish a studio and a movement with that isn't cornered on copyright and money, but just on worshiping God or whatever, right? So that's good. Uh, and then inside that building also is going to be, well, there'll be church facilities, of course, and a library. Christian library area, and then a college of some kind, right? To train and license people and that sort of. So that's a big vision, a big vision. Plus, we want to start using. There's a bunch of property around here. We want to start having our own um, garden areas and stuff because I don't know about you, but all the Pizzagate stuff and all that stuff has scared me to death to buy meats and stuff in the stores, right? I will probably never eat at McDonald's again, you know, because just when they start finding human flesh inside of the meat and stuff, that's when I'm saying I'm calling it quits, right? I'm not going to eat there anymore, right? They start finding human flesh in the burger and stuff. Uh, that's when that's when I quit right there. So anyway, the vision is to grow our own meat, grow our own vegetables, and move the property off grid, you know, get solar set up and all that stuff. But we're looking at a major investment. So with that being said, you can go to faithabides.com and there is a place to give, right? So if you are rich or whatever, and you need a tax deduction or would like to have a tax deduction, know that this ministry will use those funds for humanitarian purposes, for remodeling purposes, for the gospel, all that stuff. It'd be a good thing. So we are definitely looking for donations there. But until then, I'm not really depending on donations to get it done. What I am doing is, like I said, I'm writing these program, and then I'm doing also the class, and I'm hoping that will generate the income we need to get this stuff off the ground. All right, so that's what I've been up to, really. Besides some work around here, when I get really tired of working on stuff on the computer, I have to get up and I go outside and do something, or maybe I'll work on something else. We had a bunch of stuff we just moved out. Hired a tractor guy. The guy charged me. He quoted me like $800, and then by the time it was done, it was 15. Man, and then I had to go back and redo the work. I don't know what happened to quality. I mean, I text the guy. He's got, I have a transmission that has to be taken out of a truck, right? I text the guy. He says he's mobile work or whatever. I said, okay, I have this transmission. I need taken out of my Chevy. He quoted me to take it out, mind you, just to take it out, $1,200. I'm like, not, not. I mean, I would max out about $300 to pull a transmission. That'd be my max. I used to pull those things out when I was younger, bench press them down. I could, on my Chevelle, I used to have a hot rod. On my Chevelle, I used to be able to pull the transmission, replace the clutch, put it back in all by myself in a matter of 3 hours, right? Now that's pretty good, pretty fast. That's pretty fast. But even if it took me 2 days, it still wouldn't be worth $1,200 to pull it out. Give me a break. I don't know what people are thinking. I think that's one of those estimates that the guy just said, I don't want to do it. I'm going to just give him some horrible estimate. Terrible. But I just have to get up and pull together all my tools and just get underneath there and do it. And I could have it out, right? Just, it's a matter of having all the tools and doing it. I was worked on it today. I was going to work it yesterday. I was going to work on it today a little bit, but now it's foggy, so I'm not going to do it. So let's look at some of the stuff online. We're also going to look at some of the headlines, just talk a little bit before we start. Then I'm going to play some game and stream my game, right? Which probably I'm not going to stream the new game. I'm just going to keep with Skyrim for a little bit. I heard they have a great update, but I haven't installed it. So that's cool. Oh yeah, on the health front, many of you know that follow me know that I went through some major stuff the end of last year, around June and stuff. I lost a friend. I stepped down from my ministry that I've been doing for 6 years. I left my job, and I had some major health issues. My blood pressure was like 200 and over, 110 stuff. It was just critical. And I was having these weird flash things. And so now, I hate taking any kind of medicine, but I'm on 3 different blood pressure pills now. It's coming down still. The doctor's still mad, and she's going to do a bunch of tests and try to figure out why the hot flash thing isn't going away. My daughter says my teeth could be very well my teeth, but because they're really bad. Also, they started just failing and breaking and stuff. It's strange, and and so now I have really poor teeth. And they want $30,000. They did want $30,000. Now they're advertising half price. I don't know if that's true. To do my teeth, right? 30 grand, and insurance doesn't cover it. And I was like, man, that's ridiculous. So unless I want to go in, I was singing, in the services, so I couldn't have standard false teeth. I had to have something that functioned like a real set of teeth so I could still sing the stuff in the church and in my music and everything. But anyway, so that for a little bit it was going down, going down, going down. But then the depth of winter came, and I quit working out and stuff, and that so now it's headed back up again, and so she's upset. And then the hot flash thing, it's not as bad as it was, but it's still there, right? So if you're a praying person, pray for me. I could use your prayers. Uh, so that's on the health front, everything that's going on. And it took me a while. Uh, see, the change at the ministry wasn't a good thing. It was me and a friend, we partnered in planting a church, and then he passed away, and then this basically the superintendent of the area decided he wanted a church, and so I had to step down and leave that church behind after building it for 6 years, and it was difficult. It was very difficult. And but I'm on the other side of that. I'm starting to imagine my life doing something else now. So we'll see how that goes. Um, but let's just show you some of the stuff that's going on. I'll show you what I'll show you what I got here. Here, let me change my view here. And left. No. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. This isn't good. All we got is gameplay. All right, give me a second. I have to work on it. All right, so this Mac stream, I know that's not it. Show. This one. Oh, there we go. I can't tell if that's the right one or not. Yeah, it is. All right. So there we go. I think you should be able to see now. This is face-to-face media forensics, the program I've been working on. This is the one where I was just setting up I had some problems with the shot fingerprint and stuff. So basically shot fingerprint is this one here is the sound of a Glock 9mm. So you load the file, and then you load the type, gun family, caliber, distance, right? Then you press run, and it gives you all this stuff and writes into a database. Okay. So this is a JSON file that it writes into the database, and it tells you all the little things about that. And this one wrote into, and then when you have your database full, I'll ship it with some database stuff. And then you would use this one, gunshot forensics, and it'll tell you all the stuff that you need to fix that. Obviously I got something wrong here. I'll have to fix this. I see that the gunshot forensics is not coming up. See, sometimes that's what I've been doing, is getting those little bugs. The UI, the interface, for some reason isn't working for gunshot forensics. Probably just a fault. Let's look at it real quick and see what it is. Nothing to invite. Here it is. We got a 404 fault in gunshot forensics. So, just real quick, let me run a test on that. I'll see if I can figure out what's going on with you right here. Little. We was this one. Maybe we can find gunshot forensics. There it is, right there. See, so it's not a problem with the import error. Cannot find simple pipeline. Okay. So I got an import error. Import error, can't import name, find peak simple from. Okay, we deleted it. I remember we deleted it. That is not good. Let's see if I can find this real quick inside of, I forgot that this is not using that. So let me look inside of, this is not gunshot forensics, this is something else. This is the other one. Yeah, see, it's not even in here. Oh, whoops. Yeah. Don't look in here. Oh, word only, no. All right, so it's not working. Let's see if I can just find it, if we can. That's all in dev, so it'll be up here somewhere. Right, method is the right to database. Check duplicates. All right, so I don't want to show all my code for that, so I'll look at it later. So these are the type of bugs that I've been having. So, but you can compare. You can put a video in here, and it'll pull out your face shots out of the video, or you can compare two images, and it'll tell you if it's. Hold on, my dog's bothering me. You want to go outside? There you go. Compare two images, and it'll tell you whether it's a AI or a lookalike or something. Upscaler, this is so you can upscale an image. You can take away blur. You can do a lot of stuff here. It has an advanced mode, right? So face restoration, take away artifacts like from CCTV, another face restoration, and severe blur. This one here is not face restoration. Actually, it's just general upscaler, right? So you can upscale, and then there's when you have something loaded in here, for instance, I'll show you. I'll load something. Let's use this one. Say that you want to set the mask yourself. You can set your own mask in here so that you can ID it. Right, so that's pretty cool. Video scan, it'll actually scan videos Well, first off, you can, when you load a video, you can clip it down to a different size. You can export the audio from the video over to the audio forensics page, and you can export the clips, right, or out of it to go and pull the faces out. Okay. And so you can, and then once you have a small video, you can look for faces using talking head, or you can look for an AI hunt to see if it was generated, if the video was generated by AI, right? It has a lot of advanced tunings that we put in here also. So you can do a lot of things. I debated on whether to put all those advanced tunings in, because you could literally force it to say it's AI, right? If you wanted to force it, and you can make it consider everything as AI if it gets too nitty gritty, right? But as long as you keep it on the standard settings, it'll just do right. And then the audio forensics, in here we have several. Well, that's interesting. Oh, it's because I don't have the server up. There are several things that you can do in the audio forensics area. You can look for whispers. You can look for people. It'll hunt to see if it's AI generated. It'll hunt to see if it's it'll do scripting. It'll do a bunch of stuff. All right. So that is the face-to-face media forensics that we're looking at. And then other than that, what I've been doing is I've been working on, here's the one I'm working on right now. So I have to put this diagram in and this diagram in, and then these resources in, right, on this page. And I'm like, what? I think I'm not very far on building this. I mean, I made all the classes, but I'm on module 5 out of 22, right? So I have quite a ways to go. Like you can see, that one has 20 something, because this has 16, 10A, 10B, 10C, 9A, 9B. So 3 there, 3 there. So added 2, added 2, added 2, added 3. So that's 7. And then there's one down here, 8. So we got 8 more than 19. So 27 lessons in that one. Right. So it's gonna be a very big class, but it's pretty cool. Some of the things that I've been looking at that are driving me crazy. No, that's not what I want. Here it is. Let's look at this real quick. Right. So here I'm going to get, people are not going to like me probably, right? Because I'm going to talk about some stuff. Okay, 700 immigrations officers leave Minnesota completely. Now, I know that many people in this country believe that the immigration officers are, they're being unfair. They're killing people. They're doing whatever, right? They're thinking that it's some kind of takeover or something. But here's you have to look at, for one thing, right? Trump has not deported, not even a third of as many people as Obama or they deported, right? They just didn't, it wasn't centered. It's because everybody hates Trump, right? So they're centering on this. But here's the issue, the real issue, right? There's two actually with immigration, I think. One is that for 4 years straight, uh, they flew in the worst of the worst immigrants. And now in many cities, and for in like these ones over here, the immigrants are more percentage of the population than the Native Americans. When I say Native Americans, I mean born, uh, Americans that are for this country. Okay, normally that wouldn't be so bad, right? I mean, if that was just the case and the people were coming over and they were assimilating into the American government and the American dream and the American way of life and all that stuff, then hey, that's all good, right? That's all good. The problem is that we have several core groups of people that have their own agenda, and their goal is to overthrow the United States, right? It's to overthrow the United States straight up, right? So knowing that, then th- the hardest thing that a government can do is track down illegal alien criminal, right? It's very difficult. It costs a ton of money, and the fact that they were flying them in the hundreds of thousands, and I probably well over 100 million people, right, in 4 years' time, being flown in and placed all over the U.S. Uh, for fear that the liberal agenda would be lost. Okay, so I don't know. I noticed that now I live in a farming community, and I went to this big meal uh, over where they cooked an animal and smoked it, and all the farmers came together for one day, and they ate, and I went in there and I sat down. There was probably 500-600 people in there, of all races and ethnicities. I can't even talk this morning, right? All races, and it seemed like, and so many different languages and all this stuff. But the one thing that they agreed on was they're so sick. They were so sick of Biden. They all chanted was, cussing, cuss word Biden, cuss word Biden. I was like, oh my gosh, look at this. And they're so sick of having the liberal agenda shoved down their throats, right? And and uh and that and that has all to do with starting with Obama. It's you had a guy that's married to a trans woman, and became president, couldn't prove that he was even born in the US. He had that birth certificate put out that was just totally discredited right away. And if you don't believe this is true, that Michelle's trans woman, all you have to do is watch. He half the time uh has seen Obama, calls him Michael, you know? And so, it's just so under the cover for the 8 years that he was president, among everything else that he does, because, I really believe that he's Muslim, and just watching what he did, Iran was a third world country. And by the time he was done, it was a second world country. He literally shipped in cash hundreds of millions of dollars and just dropped it there for them, and all that money. Did we ever do that for any other country? No. In history, no. We were, when he took office, the United States was the dominant force in space. We had the shuttle program. We were the only ones with such a program. And we put up the Hubble Space Telescope, and we did all this stuff. And the very first thing he did when he got in office was cancel that. I know it was expensive, but I mean, and now the only reason that we're doing so well is because of SpaceX, Elon Musk, right? Thanks to Elon Musk and Starship and SpaceX, the United States is now heading to be back on top. but we lost our standing because he did that on purpose, I believe. And now it's taking patriots with vision like Elon and other people to, now a lot of people don't like Elon, but I appreciate that at least he's trying to put us back where we were, to where we have a standing in the world economics, to be able to say, hey, we have a space force that's on top, but and I have a lot of respect for him, because unlike a public service like PG&E, for instance, that for PG&E, that's what I got. PG&E, the CEO of PG&E makes 10 million minimum, a minimum of $10 million a year. In the last 2 years going, they've had record profits, right? And she's made, I think last year she made like 50 million or something like that, with all the bonuses and everything, right? And I am struggling. I don't know about you, but I struggle to pay my power bill. I mean, it's expensive. I it's ridiculous. What I used to pay $50 for, now I'm paying $300 for it. It's crazy. And the fact that that woman is making that amount of money, robbing all the public blind for a service that they have to survive, really, that just makes me mad, right? That makes me angry, right? So that's why I want to go off grid with this whole thing here, because I don't want any part of that anymore. I'd just soon get off grid and not pay them that money, but that costs money too. But but Elon, and any entrepreneur, he thinks up a product, right, that is not a service, right, a necessity, like eBay, or no, what do you say, PayPal. PayPal is what got him famous. He created PayPal. When he owned it, it was one of the best services you could use, man. You could not go wrong. It had so many buyer protections, right? The buyer protection was crazy good. I mean, if you didn't like anything, they refunded your money right away. It's not like that anymore after he sold it. But back then it was awesome. And then he created, in a time when everybody was dying for creating any kind of vehicle that competed with the with the carbon dollar, with petrol dollar, right? At any time that people dying right and left for battling the petrol dollar, right? That means moving away from oil, right? People that move away from oil, every single one of them die. They all die, right? Pogue carburetor, gone. The guy that had the car that ran off water and went across the United States, they poisoned him, killed him. When I was in college, I wrote a paper. Shell Company this is in the 60s. They created a car that got like 2 to 300 miles a gallon, right? And then they shoved it on a field in the back, and that's the last anybody ever heard of it. And that was in the 60s. I remember, or 70s maybe it was. I remember when I was a kid, uh, uh, Stanford University, right? They had a test. They took an MG, reported the carburetors and everything, and they made that MG get well over 65 miles a gallon with just reporting the carburetors, right? Just small changes, right? But all that knowledge is gone, right? Why? Because just the fact that you cannot buy in the United States a Toyota diesel Hilux, right? You can't buy it, right? They say it's for emissions. No, it's not for emissions. It's because those Toyota diesel Hiluxes, they get 50, 60 miles a gallon, right? And they're workhorses. They don't fail. They just go on, right? And so the oil and the car companies, right? The gas companies, they don't want that in the United States. Why? Because the United States is uh, the world consumer spot, right? This is the Great Babylon. The United States is the Great Babylon. It's the world consumer spot. Any place in the world, they build it, they ship it to the U.S. to sell it, right? And for years and years and years and years and years, that's all it was, right? It was, we build it, we ship to the U.S. to sell it, right? They would charge us tariffs to ship anything out to them, and then we wouldn't charge them anything to sell it in the U.S., right? Which brings tariffs up. Now, many people hate the idea of tariffs, and And I'm not a big fan either, because mainly anything that you tax eventually just dwindles down to the consumer, right? If you have a tariff, right, of 100%, that means that item, those companies aren't going to pay that tariff, right? They're going to up the price of their stuff and the consumer is going to pay for it. But it's good for the government because not only do they get the tariff, they get the more tax revenue in because the tax on a higher priced item is more tax for them, right? So not so it's a win-win for any government to put a tariff, right? So, but at the same time, I think that we should be charging at least the same amount of tariff that a company charges us, right? If they have a tariff on us, then we need to have at least the same amount of tariff on their goods, right? And make it equal so the US doesn't go broke. This is the problem. The United States is $38 trillion in debt. You don't understand that, right? We already fell when Obama was president, or maybe it was when Biden, I can't remember now. Our credit rating already fell. Literally every bit of income tax that comes in nowadays goes to the servicing of that loan, right? Just to pay the interest. Now you're wondering why the government is trying to tax this and have tariffs and everything else, because they have no money. They ain't got nothing. Everything that's coming in goes to pay the taxes on that debt, which is what the rich done to us, right? The super rich, the super 1% that own that, right? You can say, oh, it's not owned by this. If you follow the money long enough, right? And many people look at those BlackRock and all these other companies, but really those companies just represent, right? They just represent those super rich people, right? That's all. They buy and sell on their behalf. And that's it. It's those people. It's those, I think there's 5 to 7 families that run the world, right? They literally run the world. They have nowadays, you get up, I'm really ranting now, right? Nowadays, you get up out of bed, right? You uh, eat food that you had to buy in a store that got taxed. And by the way, that is totally unhealthy for you. But now we have one guy at least that's trying to fix that, right? But no, the we can't have that liberal left or whatever. No, we can't have that. We can't try to get rid of the poison that's coming through the shopping, through the stores and everything. Oh my gosh. It's the only country that is legal to even sell some of that garbage in is in the United States. Everywhere else says, no, that's unhealthy. Bread, you go buy bread over in Germany or something, and that bread only lasts like 2 or 3 days because it's regulated. It is good for you, bread, right? But over here, the shelf life of bread has so many additives in it that you can take it and it'll literally stay on your counter for weeks before it goes bad, and all that stuff goes into your body. Bread is horrible, right? It's so unhealthy. That's why people have so many allergies against it, right? When you start having all those allergies against it, there's probably something in it that's not good. But anyway, so uh, get up in the morning, you eat food that got taxed, right? You get up, you drive to work. Not only did you pay tax on the car that you bought, you have to pay tax. And in California, it's no joke, right? We're paying well over $2 a gallon fuel tax, right? It's crazy. And they're just talking about upping it again, right? And on top of that, now it's going to get more expensive because our governor Newsom is getting all the corporations. They're all leaving. All the oil companies, they're all leaving California. All the big companies, even good old burger place, right? In and Out, right? I'm out of California, right? I'm done, right? That was a California grown business, and she's out, right? Elon pulled all his stuff out. They're all leaving. There's a mass exodus, you know, and it's because of mostly because the liberal left views. I'm a teacher. I was in a teacher in school, and check this out. Newsom, he signed a bill that if a young man, I was seventh and eighth grade, right? If a young man came to school wearing a dress all of a sudden, started wearing a dress all of a sudden and doing all that stuff, I could not call the parents and talk to them about it. It was it was $5,000 in 5 years, right? In jail if I called the parents and informed them that their child was coming to school in a dress. That's craziness. That is insane. That, for one thing, uh, kids, they do not have enough wisdom to be able to make those kinds of choices. They don't, right? That's the whole idea of raising your child, is to instill into your child right and wrong to the best of your ability, right? To give them a platform of knowledge and wisdom to be able to make solid judgments for their life that won't cost them, you know? And when we see, I mean, does it always work? No. But it's getting worse. As soon as I think in the 60s, when we started attacking the nuclear family, right? We started attacking and tearing apart families. Uh, so nowadays, 50% of the families in the US are single parent or alternative instead of a nuclear family. And you can look at all the research. The best possible thing for a kid is to have a stable mother and father in the house, right? That's the best there is, right? They get to see how a marriage is supposed to work. If hopefully it's a good marriage, get to see how a good marriage works. They get to see what it means to be a breadwinner and a masculine. Get to see the masculine view, and a boy can be raised up to be a man, and a girl can be raised up to be a woman, and and I don't know why that's wrong now. I mean, that's crazy that that's wrong now. That you now go to jail for caring, you know. But anyway, so we were talking. So you get up and boy, I'm ranting a lot today, right? You get up and you go to work and you pay the $2 tax on your fuel, right? Every day, plus tax on your car, and then you go buy lunch, or the food that you bought for lunch is taxed again. And then you come home, you got to pay for your power, and your power is taxed. Don't forget that tax, and electric to run your house, and then or your car if you got electric car, and then you eat food that you bought in the store that was taxed again when you bought it, and think about food for a second. Okay, so the grower is taxed. They ship it to some place that is going to make it so it sells in the store. Well, guess what? The shipping is taxed. The field to ship it is taxed. The company that makes it into something, they are taxed for how it is made, right? Then when they get it all done, they ship it, right? And it's taxed again to be shipped. Then they put it in a store, right? And they sell it to the store. Well, it's taxed when they sell it. Then the store is taxed when they sell it, right? And then you're taxed when you buy it. And then you take it home, you're taxed for the fuel it costs you to take it home, and then you're taxed for the electric or the whatever it was, the fuel that you used to heat it up and cook it. It's craziness. Craziness. We are taxed well over 100% of our income. Well over. So all that stuff is tax, 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 tax. So, and then you go to work, right? And anywhere from 27% or so to 50% plus is your income tax. If you make over, I think in what is it, 400,000, 500,000? If you make over 500,000, then you're taxed 50% of your wage. 50% goes to the government. And in return, In return for that 50% of your tax, you get a school that won't even let you. Man, Mr. Newsom, they signed a bill in this state that allows a perfect stranger to come in with a piece of paper, not have to show ID or anything, as long as they got that piece of paper filled out, and pull your child without your permission, out of the classroom, right? And take them. What? What? It's crazy. Did you know almost around 800,000 kids a year come up missing in this country alone, right? Uh, they say most of them are recovered. I don't know, but let's just say 10% of those aren't recovered, right? That's 80,000 kids a year that aren't recovered. Where did they go? Where did they go? You know, where did those 80,000, some of them obviously in human trafficking, right? But 80,000 kids a year is way too many to accommodate even for human traffickers, right? That's just too many. And that's just in the US. Where are those kids going? You know, I guess according to the news, into your McDonald's burger. Yuck. Anyway, I didn't say that. That was the story, right? That was the news story. And I'm just repeating what was on the news. Yeah, I'll probably never eat at McDonald's again. Matter of fact, I pretty much quit eating at all fast food restaurants now. Not only does it cost you as much as it used to cost you to go to a restaurant to eat at fast food almost, you don't know what you're getting now. Of course, you never did know. We never did know. You can't look at a label what you think. You go to the store and you look at the label and that's what's actually in that product. Do you know for sure? Can you trust your government to make sure? I don't think so. What was the adrenochrome scandal? Adrenochrome, have you heard of that? Adrenochrome? I don't know. It's probably a conspiracy theory, might not even exist. But the guy was saying, well, going around giving seminars and saying that, yes, they take kids, they scare them to death so that uh, adrenaline is pulsing through their system, and then they kill them and drain all the adrenochrome out of them, right? And then they do whatever they do with the flesh. And then the adrenochrome, I guess, is some kind of youth serum for the rich. I don't know. But hey, maybe that's where those 80,000 kids a year are going. Who knows? You know. But he says that guy said that that Walmart is being used as distributors. I don't know. I didn't say it. It was the guy that said that, and which is hard to believe. That's very hard to believe. But somebody's distributing it. He said that it's coming. It arrives in 50-gallon barrels. That stuff. I know that there's a lot of people that are rich that have just went through incredible transformations. Incredible. They were looking old and decayed, and now they look younger than they did when they were 25 or 20 or whatever. What is that? I don't know. And then the Pizzagate, that's where they're actually eating kids, supposedly Pizzagate. And Jennifer, one of the Jennifers, and them were talking about that. And then we have the Epstein files. Isn't it amazing that, those files are all things for blackmail, right? They were all things for blackmail, to blackmail uh, all the people of power, right? That's how people think that it's Israel. I don't think it's Israel, right? Although Epstein has been shown to be an Israeli operative or whatever, but I still don't think it was Israel. I think it's those 5 families, 6, 7 families or whatever that run the world, right? Their whole goal is to stay running the world. But and force their will to be done. And how do they do that? Well, they entice them into a compromising situation, film it, and then use it to blackmail them. And there was an estimate I read on the news or heard on the news. It was a video that they said that just about every single one of our senators and congressmen are being blackmailed, you know, and our presidents or whatever. I don't know. That's really what they call the deep state or whatever. I don't know. But so all those taxes, you think about all those taxes that we pay in this country, and then where all that money goes. And this is, you know, all that other stuff is one thing, but you think about where all that money goes. And this is where I start getting upset about what happens to the money in this country. I mean, a lot of people are getting rich. There's no doubt about that. You know, Newsom just bought a $15 million mansion or something like that off of his whatever. Nancy Pelosi is worth well over $100 million off of a job that she makes $200,000 a year from. You know, the thing about Trump, though, he doesn't take a wage. He just tells you straight up, yeah, I take the loopholes. All the rich people take the loopholes, And so he's not even getting paid. This is the second time he's done it. He's not even getting paid to be the president. You know, that's crazy, right? But at least he's fighting. He's trying to fight. I'm sure that he's what's the word? Oh, I can't think of the word when you're really self-centered. But he's a man that loves power, loves money. There's no doubt about that. He's a billionaire, multi-billionaire, and he loves power. And that's not good for a president. But I would argue this, in order to run for office, for such a high office like that, I think that you're narcissistic. There's the word. I think that you're either Machiavellian, Machiavellian, psychopathic, or psychotic, right? You have to fit one of those four in order to even, right? Because you have to think about people are hurt in the course of you attaining those offices, right? I mean, look at the blood trail behind the Clintons. Oh my gosh. It's ridiculous. And you think about, and it's true for almost all the presidents when it comes down to it. There's just, they had to put themselves in front of others and step on people to be able to get that. So that makes them one of those things, right? Either just straight up narcissistic, Machiavellian, psychotic, or in worst case scenario, you're a psychopath, right? That's just all there is to it. And that's just how it works. I wrote that paper when I was in college and found that out. That was crazy. And so the money that we get, right? We send $100 million. I mean, we send so much money out. And I know there's been a big thing with Democrat Gate where a lot of money was coming back into the pockets of all those politicians, right? They'd send it out and it would come back. I mean, do you really believe that they sent $30 million over to a country to support homosexual rights? Do you really believe that? That money, maybe they used $1 million of it or something. Not all that money came back in their pockets somehow. That's how it works. All that money. That's why they're the big problem, right? Because they had it set up. Now here's the thing: they had it set up to where they were making millions of dollars under the covers, right? Millions off the taxpayers. And but here's where I get angry. That's bad, and I should be angry about that. But what I'm really angry about is any of that money should never go out of this country until the problems in this country are addressed. right? Nothing should leave this country. We are $38 trillion in debt, right? $38 trillion in debt. Being that far in debt, not a dollar should leave the borders of this country, not $1, until we address the problems that are in this country. We need to wipe out that debt. We need to fix, this country treats veterans horribly. The people that paid with their life so that we can wake up in the morning in a bed and feel secure and safe and not worry about having somebody threaten us by gun or come and steal our property or whatever, right? They, for the freedoms and the rights that we have in this country, were paid for by the blood of our veterans, right, of our soldiers. And to treat them so poorly that we have so many of them living homeless on their street, see, that's wrong. And so that would need to be fixed. And there's a major homeless issue too, right? So, and then the other major thing that definitely has to be fixed is the medical system. You know, the those companies are all owned by the same five families, and they own the hospitals, they own the doctors' offices, they own the prescription companies, they own the pharmaceutical companies, and then they, on top of that, they own the billing companies that bills for all that, right? It's a monopoly like no one's ever seen of making money off of people getting sick. And and uh and so no cures hardly ever come to light because that's not how they make money, you know? And that's why they can charge whatever they want and they can bill whatever they want, and they're getting rich, 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 while the American population suffers and dies, you know? So that's a problem. And and so not only does it need to become affordable, it needs to be centered on health, and it needs to be centered on cures, not on not on treating symptoms and making money. How much money can I make off this person's life and their sickness? How much money can I make on this person's treating of their symptoms and still prolong their sickness? You know, it's disgusting. It's bad. You know, all that's bad. And so that's my rant. I told you I was going to talk about some other stuff today, and that's what I wanted to talk about, right? So Trump calls on Republicans to nationalize future elections. Well, he wants to nationalize it because all of the, for one thing, you should have to show your license to vote. You should have to be able to vote in this country. You should have to be able to show, you should have to show your license to show that you are a legal resident of this country, right? And to be able to vote, right? If you're not a legal resident of this country, you should not be able to vote. And how are you going to prove that? It has to be through showing your ID of something, right? And the problem is that we got so many, the states, when they take the voting, is so lax that we were able to, even with that, that's amazing that Trump won. I mean, Trump won because you know they tried hard to mess up the votes, I'm sure. But but I think that this is not it, to nationalize it. He's trying to do it because he has no control over the states the way they do it. So, but we'll see. You know, it used to be that you were not a U.S. citizen; you were a citizen of your state, right? You're a resident. You were a resident of your state, and your citizenship was tied to the state where you were resident. And but now they changed that, and you became a U.S. resident, a U.S. citizen. And the reason they did that was because it's illegal to tax somebody unless you are a resident of that. So that's the whole reason back when why they switched that, and people started to have to file income taxes with the federal government and become a U.S. citizen so that they could legally tax you. I don't know if you knew that, but that was a long time ago. Uh, that's pretty cool. 13-year-old saves family swept out to sea. Government shutdown ends. Homeland Security faces fundraising crisis. Homeland Security. Uh-oh. What do you know about Homeland Security? I know that it didn't used to exist until what? After 9/11, which is probably why 9/11 happened. Because before that time, it was illegal for the government to open your emails. It was illegal for them to trace your activity on the internet. It was illegal for them to do any of that stuff, right? But that doesn't mean they weren't doing it. They were still doing it, but they were doing it illegally. But then, with the advent of 9/11, right? Which there's a lot of other things that went into that. You know, those buildings had so much asbestos in there that they were worthless, and they had to come down, but they didn't know how to do it. But miraculously, I was watching TV. I woke up and I was watching TV as those planes hit, and I seen the shadow of the aircraft that was around those planes, and those were not normal public transportation planes. You know, they had no windows, some of them. But anyway, so 9/11 happens, and then now there's a Homeland Security and transportation department after that, and now it's legal. And then they changed the law to propagandize that the U.S. government can propagandize its own people. As soon as they did that, you can't find truth anymore on social media, right? When it became legal to propagandize, for the government to propagandize their own people, now you can't look and find too much truth on social media. It's all got a whole bunch of propaganda. And it seems to focus, like if you go to Instagram versus TikTok versus the others, they all have their little center thing that they're focusing on, right? They're focusing on fight against the Muslim. They're focusing on extreme left or ICE or whatever, you know, they're all focusing on something. But so that's was the start of Homeland Security. So now they have it's perfectly legal that they monitor everything. Everything. All I have to do is say the word you want me. They've probably done it with just the word Homeland Security. But as soon as I say this word, it will get flagged, and somebody, either an AI or somebody, will listen to it and find out if it was a threat. If I say the word bomb, there we go. That's all. That since I said that word on this, which I shouldn't say, I should have said boom boom, right? Or something like that. But it's for teaching purposes, right? So now that has been flagged, and someone will review that and decide if it's a security threat, right? Which in the long run, there are pluses to that. That's for sure, because that's how they find out, you know, if somebody's going to do violence in the United States. So that's through phone taps and monitoring and internet monitoring and all that stuff. That's how they find their evidence. That's how they get their intelligence. Right. So here we got U.S. Iran talks change venue. Okay, so we might be going to war with Iran. We'll see. Mainly, if you look at what Trump is doing, everything that was established by Obama and Biden that compromises the security of the United States, he's trying to address it, right? Uh, Obama, he raised up Iran. He actually bowed, took his shoes off and bowed to the imam. I don't know if you remember that. I do. I was like, what in the world? And if you just look at his name, I mean, it's straight up, you can tell. But I guess that's racist, right? I'm sorry. But here's the thing. Uh, Now there's that country, right? They're sending all their military age men by the hundreds of thousands into this country. And they all came in for years and years. And now you have places like Dearborn, Michigan, and and over in Texas, which Texas is a hard sell right there. I'm surprised they're trying to move in Texas, and now they over New York is never going to be the same, right? It's never going to be. It's just going to grow into something that we don't even recognize as New York, and all these all these places that are being taken over. Uh, Now, I'm not against East Indian people. I have East Indian friends. But what I am against is for a faction to come into the United States and try to overthrow the government and put their own government in place. And that's what they're trying to do, right? They want to introduce Sharia law. They don't want to. They don't want to adhere to the Constitution or the laws of the land, and so that's a problem. That's a problem. That's You have to obey the laws of the land, or it doesn't work. We have the political system in place for a reason. If we don't like a law, we can go through that system and get it changed, to get it removed, or whatever, right? But I think even that should be subject. I don't think that a um, I don't think that a naturalized alien should be able to run for any federal congressional office or representative office. I think that you, to be president or to be part of the uh, congressional branch, that you need to be like second or third generation born American, right? That's what I believe. I think that should be how it is. And now governors of states, I think that you can release that a little bit and have a naturalized alien in there. We had Terminator guy um, in California for a while, and he done better than Gavin, that's for sure. But but I when he came online and yelled at everybody for not taking the COVID vaccine, now since it's been proven that it actually harms a lot more people than it ever helped, uh, I I that he lost a lot of points. But anyway, so Iran will probably, I don't know if we go to war with them. The problem is that they're getting backed by Russia and Russia and China. So that could be, we have to be careful what we do there because it could lead to World War III. And so Netflix is acquiring Warner Brothers. That's pretty amazing, I think. Well, now that I have ranted a lot, we didn't get not even one person on here. Here, let me switch. We didn't get one person on here that's been talking about any of these topics. Maybe I'll get some comments later, or maybe this whole thing will be taken down. Who knows? But now we're going to go ahead and play some game. Let me bring it up and play a little bit of game. See if it will come up. Oh, I need to do it from here. That one. Let's play. All right, looks like it's coming up. Let me go to gameplay. Oh, I'm not seeing it. don't see it. Let's see if I can see why. Oh no, it's there. Okay. It looks good. All right. Let me turn on the... I should start running this through a sound thing so that it doesn't bounce. Anyway. Here we go.
But the stone folks took solid, wilderness, blades, outlets, pretty much anything to suit your needs.
Start with just selling some stuff, maybe. We'll just start. It's been a while since I even played any game. I've been working so hard on that stuff. Let's use one of those. Elvin got 30 of them then. Which these things worth $30 million, $21, $6, plus worth 47. Well, I've seen something that was, oh well, let me just sell that then.
Keep safe. That's always where you're off.
Yeah, I'm going here. I was going here and sell too. I'll just sell this stuff for a second. Oop, what's he at? Hello, the weather is...
friend. How may I help? True,
I may look. Bows and arrows to my wheels.
Perhaps
I'll be seeing more.
There's my kids. Yep. Where is it made nowadays? Look at this.
You're not supposed to be in there.
We just want to buy, sell stuff. Says it's open. Yeah, sorry about all that ranting, you know. But where'd she go? There she is.
You're not supposed to be in.
What do you mean I'm not supposed to be in here?
You're not supposed to be in here.
It must be some kind of glitch. What time is it? 3:30 p.m. There, one last time.
You're not supposed.
Okay, that's it. I'm not selling to you.
Mama
Yeah,
took me to the market. There were lots of pies.
Talk to company leader for work. Oh, that's my wife right there.
Wait, I know them.
What in the world? Look, the door's gone.
Hello, my good. Bows and arrows through my fingers.
It's weird, huh?
Thank you,
very
sir.
much for your business.
We of the floors are. How can such a thing be possible? Wait, I know. All right then.
I cannot name sound.
What can I do for
You can.
friend?
Yeah, let's see here. Money in, so what, maybe 7 hours.
Got some big pieces out there that they can buy. More inside. Blades, hounds, pretty much anything to use. Don't forget to check inside the shop.
It's going on my video. It's some weird stuff all of a sudden. You know the doors are showing?
Take a good look around. I'm sure you'll find what you're looking for. Imperials. Take a look.
Look. Where'd I get all this stuff? Man, that's heavy. Lots of stuff. I'm not talking. I should be talking.
Do come back.
Look better. Little. Something's going on with that. I got a very... Oh, it's because I'm streaming too. But it usually works.
Me? I call them treasures.
Dude, real why it's... My video is so bad today.
Remember,
Fresh vegetables at dinner.
Mm. Let's see if we save it. Then exit out and reload. Should be really good. Let's go over here. What is it?
Uh,
were once man,
uh,
and as man,
That's better.
let me show you the power of. You're not as dumb
yeah,
as
the
you look.
little-
Horn of the North, where my bread is long winter.
Yeah, it was really bad. I don't know why. What do you want, doggy? Ooh, maybe I'll go get something to eat real quick.
oh,
I want the bombs full start. God's faith.
What are you whining about? Come in here just to whine at me? Well, I guess we'll do one quest. Now that we've sold everything. Let's do it with
Been a good
Farkas.
friend to me. That means something.
Where's the
Until next time.
Focus said you've been doing content. I don't know what to do.
Means, but you seem
Lizzie.
honorable, so that's good.
I've been tending to the warriors and forgotten to me.
game is acting weird today?
I see
I'm gonna
everything.
mount a
hear
monitor
everything,
today.
And know everything.
Friends like
You are hard to find.
and very
Damn.
valuable to me.
God watch over to God. We have broken the sense of entrapment. Our wealthy family has misplayed one of their errors. I tell you that the province is willing to grip. Bandits become more brazen every day. We're threatening your misfortune. Bring honor for the bandits.
And well,
It's you. It's you. Ah.
Sorry, got some food. We do it quick. Now, I guess every once in a while you got to rant, all right? I guess it didn't connect. It says it did, but we'll leave it did. I bought he updated the contact suite, whatever the native instruments bundle, which I bought it a long time ago. It's very expensive. It's well over $1,000. But I done that update, which brought in 80 new instruments. But for my, I had it wouldn't load onto my external drive for nothing, so I have to load it on my regular drive, then delete it, move it, and then delete it off my regular drive, one at a time, which is crazy, right? Whatever. Okay, that was 14, I guess. Got one here that's 9. Start with that one. Okay. We got the job already. Let's head on out. The lower coast food. We got to pay my bills, do taxes today. No. Maybe I'll just pay my bills, do taxes tomorrow. Family heirloom. Will you go to maps? Well, that's weird. There. That's just my current location. But this is really glitchy today. I don't know why. It's not even showing up. All right. Where's Strident Squall? Strident Squall. Feels like it's out in the ocean. The pointer doesn't seem to be working. The Solstein. Let's go to Solstein real quick. That might be why it's not working.
Captain Dallin does the business. I'm just a ship.
Yeah, now we got it.
Captain Gallon does the business around here.
Here's that down here. Strident Squall. I think I've been there before. Let's get out of the way for a second.
I was supposed to let Marty party.
They're gonna continue to chase me. God. $73 damage. Says 79. It's not so bad, right? Get some health going first, because we're all the way down. Where is it? Shooting at me. No, just look out there. Oh. Uh-oh, he found me. I think the guy shot him. Where's that? All this stuff grows back. It's been a long time since I've made potions. Sure, I got a lot of stuff in there. He must have an enemy around.
I'm gonna push you down.
Down. Filthy spreadshirt.
I always like to get everything. Ooh, money and apples. And books. You know, I'm sure that I've already got all this stuff off this thing once. But since it's the West, it's all back. Boy, a lot of skeletons around here. La da 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 da. Well, that's not. Let me fix that. It is. My guess is that it's. I guess I got to give it to Vilkas.
We're looking for a package from the Dr. Canal Young.
Yeah, I'm not. Might as well sell some stuff while I'm here. Oh, you know, I get bored playing these games nowadays.
Man's here on the clock.
But I wanted to go online because it's been so long since I've been online. So I thought, well, you know, I'll play a game and relax for a few minutes.
Whether dog or you or in fight.
You
He didn't
come
see it.
Some may call this a junk. Me, I call it treasures.
Some may call it junk, but I call them treasures. Oops, that's not the right side. Ooh. It's not bad.
Be sure
Sure to stop by Sabe's Beans Way.
Now here's a man I'm going to see. Everything I'm not on display, real. Good day. My father said living to just go on was a lot. Traveled hill. Take a look.
Thank you for your custom.
Thank you for your custom. Oh, hey, I see I got somebody in the chat. Hey, Flexi. I'll just call you Flexi. Welcome. we're just hanging out today. You missed the big chat part, and now I'm just playing a little bit of Skyrim. I'm gonna update my studio today a little bit. I think I'm in the wrong place all of a sudden. Oh, that's the right place. And we're just hanging out.
Got something for just about everybody in here.
Give a holler.
Good to
To
see
see
you.
you.
Fine. Take a look.
Take a look. Let's start down here. Let's see if we got any junk stuff here to get rid of. Flutes. Okay, both those. This for my daughters. Kettle. Lizards. Stable in this case. And I think most was just stuff that I have. Straw, save that for. Here, got the wooden bowl. And a pair of little books, so sweet. I think that this is a regular book. Really. I'm just looking for normal books to sell. Good enough. All right.
Come again.
Do them again. So I get so much money is I always take time to sell everything. To get everything and sell everything. go to back to Whiterun. Oh, she's leaving. Might be too late already.
Got some good pieces out here if you're looking to buy.
Caught her just in
Looking to
time.
protect yourself or deal some damage.
Oh, she got no money.
Don't forget to check
inside
the
the
shop
shop
if you need
if you need
anything.
It means all of them would be broke still.
Bits and baubles for sale. All crafted by
It's not so sticks, a bit more young. Right, then. Oh,
Well, must have left, huh? I wouldn't have expected someone to give it to you. They'd ask for your utmost discretion on this matter. So I'll make sure it gets to you. Here's your share of your reward. $300.
The braggarts in the reach
Always pray that no prisoner escapes their mind. What you don't hear are the ones who pray God for their escorts on the way to Warcraft. But that's escape. And you're going to find them out. At this point, they don't care what happened to Thur, and neither do I. Best to kill him and be done with. Be careful. This man is known to be dangerous.
Good day.
Unless I'll finna do this one too. Yes. No, I could have gone into that section.
good morning.
Now
Wait, this is problem. Why the... Oh.
Let's let them do all the work.
Please stop doing this fine. I feel my own. Now, well,
damn you.
You.
Dragons? Let's see. Let's head back to Solitude. Then we're gonna It's weird. Some's happening with my YouTube channel.
What are you doing?
I'll watch us. One side. See if she up close.
Pardon me. Papa says I
Okay,
want
what's
some
walking?
raspberry, but he wouldn't tell
So,
me why
what
not.
about?
Hey,
What if we
chat?
chat?
No.
May the God watch over your back.
I'm a little busy.
at the moment. I've got
And
all
also-
sorts of errands to run. You lost?
Lost?
On
I'll
to
just
see you
see
again,
you
Benny.
again. Good to see you,
dear.
dear.
Papa, you're home.
Wanna play a game?
Aw,
Oh.
Yes,
Yes,
Mom?
Mom.
the palace looks so
So
pretty.
pretty.
I
I
wish
wish they let.
You got me a
present.
present? Really?
Yeah. What?
Thanks.
Yes.
Yeah.
I saw thought. Do you think I could be a
Be a
bard?
vibe. What is it? What is it?
Thanks. Papa!
Yes,
Yes,
Mom?
what? Aren't you already winning a job for Locust? Come talk to me when you finish up. I'll be here.
dear.
Okay. I guess that's good enough for today. I got some other work to do. It's going for 11:30. We've been online for a couple hours and a few hours or whatever. And so I noticed my computer is racing a little bit. I need to check and see if it's dirty or something. All right. Thanks for watching. Have a wonderful afternoon, and we'll catch you soon.
You absolutely can reverse a cavity, and I'm going to prove it to you.
Drinking warm water before bed